Hello and welcome back to Apes and Engines, episode 13. And joining me today is Hippo-Drones.
Hey,
welcome. AKA Pete. Peter, actually.
Pete.
Perfect. So to start off, do you want to introduce the people to your channel who may or may not have seen it before, just while I get this to focus?
As you said, I'm Pete. I've got a channel called Hippo-Drones. It's not a drone channel. It never was a drone channel. I can speak. English is my first language. But yeah, it's a motovlogging channel. I do videos from garage stuff to exploring out in the wilds, looking at castles and stuff around the country when I'm able to. Bloody COVID.
Yeah.
And a little bit of green laning and all sorts of stuff. I've got 3 motorcycles, so it's a bit of a variety going on my channel.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that's one of my personal favorite things about your channel is the variety. Every Thursday it's a different video. It's not. I'm the same. I like to mix it up, and even recently when I did the vote to say, did you want another episode of Kazawaki? That went against me. That's why I put up the vote, because I was like, 2 of the same video in a row. It's not. I don't want to do that, but
that flowed really well though, putting all 3 of them together, but having them split up.
Yeah.
I thought there was a brilliant few videos that you put up there.
Oh, thank you. But back to your channel. So you started. YouTube says 3 years ago. I don't know. Is it actually a full 3 years ago? I don't know why my webcam's being weird. Sorry.
It's actually coming up for its chaniversary, which will be its fourth anniversary, fourth year at Christmas. So Christmas Day is when I posted my first video, 2016, I believe.
That's crazy. So, well, happy almost chaniversary then. Yes. But your very first video was Moto Gymkhana. That was really fun. I enjoyed that.
It was a very silly motorcycle.
Yeah, it looked fun though. Silly motorcycles are often the best ones. And I think it was your second or third video. Sorry?
That one was my first video, I believe.
Yeah, the Moto Gymkhana one was your first video, but I think your second or third video was when you first introduced the V7.
I did a Moto Guzzi V7 startup. These were actually videos that I had on another channel that I moved across just to get this one started.
Okay.
But yeah, that was me starting up the Moto Guzzi after having a layoff of motorbiking. I almost gave up motorbiking once. And yeah, again, that Guzzi started up was like my heartbeat started going again, and motorcycles was like, yay.
And that is your V7 right behind you there as well on the screen. And
it's changed a little bit since that video.
Just a little bit. But we'll get to that later. I have a whole section on the V7. Don't worry. And the V7 is a huge part of your channel. But so far on your channel, you have 365 uploads, which is insane. So well done. 2.91 thousand subs, so very close to that 3K. Again, well done. And this is a number that blew me away. 703,000 views.
Oh, really?
703,000 views. So a little applause there. Like if that's because I remember you when you were doing the push for 500,000 views. That was not that long ago.
It was, I actually recalled, it was on one of my anniversary videos that I did. I just rolled over it or something like that. I'd done my year in review and I just rolled over the 500,000 views.
That must have only been last year then.
I don't know when it was. It was either last year or the year before, but I think it might have been last year.
It must have been, because I don't think I was watching you in 2018. So there you go. You've gotten a lot of views this year. You'll be at 1 million in no time, and that is an incredible number. So number one, there's the introduction to Pete's channel, and just congrats. That's impressive.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
So the first topic I would like to talk about, and like I said before we turned on the recording, I think you do a great job of it, is traveling by motorcycle in the UK and Scotland and Wales and etc. all that region. And I know you haven't been over here yet, but we'll get you over here next year.
That will happen.
Has to be done. But sell it to people. You do your moto camping, which looks brilliant, and I love how you just do the random moto camping, take off and just go somewhere. That's fantastic. Your green laning, your solar rides, all the group rides you do. But what's your favorite? What's your, out of those travel things, what's your absolute favorite thing to do?
Green laning.
Yeah, that shows, to be honest. I could have probably picked that.
I mean, I hope maybe in 2021 to sort of cross over with a few things and do the green laning with a tent and travel around and see some castles. Now, that would be awesome.
That would.
Have a proper adventure where you get in mucky, camping, drinking some beer, and then going and looking at a blooming awesome castle.
Yeah, and that's something that I am really jealous of, is the fact you have the opportunity to green lane like that, because we just don't have anything like that.
It's all private land over in Ireland.
It's all private land, yeah. Like there's some forestries that you can ride a dirt bike in. It's not illegal, but it's also not legal, if you get me. It's kind of, it's one of those gray areas, but certainly there's not like, for you you can, run on your green lane, pop onto the road, onto the next one, and just keep flowing like that. We don't have that here. There's no opportunity, which it is a shame. It is a shame. But tell us about your green laning bike, because that's new.
Yeah, well, I've got a habit of buying bikes just before lockdown. So I bought, I started actually almost exactly 2 years ago with a Beta Alp 4.0, which was an Italian bike with a Suzuki 350cc air-cooled engine.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it because it didn't look very nice, to be honest. Because 10 years ago I had a KTM stolen from my garage and I couldn't face that again, so I bought a bike that looked rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
But actually it was such a fantastic bike, and I got the bug right back and loved it, and I just wanted something a little bit lighter, a little bit faster and stuff like that. So now I've got a Beta 390RR, which is
pretty.
a proper enduro bike. Is that my phone or is that yours? I'll move it away.
I think it might be mine. I'll throw it on the floor. It was already pretty far away, but it still does that sometimes.
But yeah, got that. I bought that at the beginning of the season, so it was on the new registration in March.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 rides later, I was furloughed, locked down, and couldn't go out on the motorbike.
Yeah.
So it sat in the garage, looking very sorry for itself. So I spent some money on it to make it feel better. And I'm only short, so it gave me the opportunity to get the suspension lowered. So I've got it lowered 2 inches now, so I can just about touch the ground with my foot toes, and I don't get snow on my head when I get on it. And it's a lot better, and I've made it a little bit more comfortable, because these enduro bikes have just got a wooden plank for a seat practically. So I've got the Seat Concept comfort seat on it, which is nice, and stuck some radiator guards on it, and and it's grand. But it is a race bike, and you've got to service it, drop oil in it every 3 hours, and not 3 hours, but it feels like that.
So it's quite high maintenance.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous though.
It is. I love it. I love it to pieces.
Yeah,
I do miss the old bike. I do miss the Alp, because that was so practical and it had proper service intervals and stuff like that. But wheelies.
That's it. The extra power.
Yeah.
And is that a bike you see yourself upgrading in the near future? Or is that one there to stay for a couple of years?
I heard a rumor that Honda are going to be dropping the 250L, the CRF 250L, and bringing out a 300 version of that.
Oh, okay.
Which has got a little bit of a perkiness to it compared to what the 250 is.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a brilliant dual sport motorcycle, so that would be really good for doing motor camping while trail riding.
Yes.
And I could be tempted to go that way, even though it would be a step down and in power and a step up in weight. I just think it would be a really
Honda,
good bike. But my Beta's mine.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just have to shuffle some things over in the garage maybe, and keep the Beta for the funny days where I just want to be stupid and
have some fun.
I don't know.
I know. I'd love to get the CRF 450L. I threw a leg over one, and I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, this makes sense." Because I think I've said it to you before. I have a definite love affair for the Husqvarna 701.
Mm-hmm.
I love that bike, but it's just
Is that the Supermoto version or the Enduro version?
Either or. I just love that engine. Just, the 701 single cylinder. It's that KTM 690. I know it's the same engine. They just call it different, but it's I just think it's a fantastic looking bike. The Supermoto, probably, if I had a pick, I'd pick the Supermoto, but I don't know. I'd like to be able to take it onto a bit of dirt as well. So, who knows? But
I'll just put some wets on it.
Yeah. But the issue here is like you just can't get them used. If I was to buy one, I'd have to buy it new, and to buy it new, you'd have to organize importation, and you're looking at 25% over what they actually are new just to get one.
They really sting you on the taxes, do they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, which is what sucks. And even with the CRF 450L, that's not a cheap bike new because of the engine in it. That's the trouble.
And it's still quite highly strung. I mean, like, you still got to drop the oil on that every 600 miles. And
yeah, exactly. So like, well, in my head, it'd be something I'd be like, oh yeah, I like that bike. In reality, I don't know, because I probably wouldn't use, like, I have a lot of bikes now. So I'm the same as you. Yeah, like people are always, they'd say like, oh, how do you not put more mileage on, for instance, the Magna behind me? And I'm like, well, I have the CBF, and before that I had the Phaser, and let's face it, for daily riding, I think EFI is just easier, isn't it? Yeah. It's just easier.
I mean, you can't be the character of an older bike with carbs and all that sort of stuff.
I love them.
When you go to work and it's raining, all you want to do is swing your leg over it and have the bike start and get you there in one piece and easily. Well,
even like at the moment with the Suzuki GSX-R I'm rebuilding, like the amount of things that I have had to get to fix those carbs, because I was adamant from going into that. I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna do it myself. Yeah. But like, I've spent so much money even just buying an ultrasonic bath and stuff. I have it now. It's mine, and that's fine. But like,
toys in your workshop.
Yeah, it's nice. But it's an investment to keep my carbed bikes going well. So it's like, if that was EFI, it'd just be, fix the tank and turn the key and it's done. So yeah, it's added a bit of work. But to move on as well, I think to hit upon your kind of your random moto camping adventures, I think that's a really cool idea, and something that I had actually planned to do. This time last year in November, Ireland actually often gets like one of the most perfect riding weather. So like 5 to 10 degrees Celsius, but really clear, crisp, dry. All the leaves have been washed away, roads. Obviously, we're in lockdown now, but that was one of my plans with the CBF and the full tour luggage I have on it now, is to just shoot off for the day. So I think one of my favorite ones was when you went over to the Isle of Wight on your own, just randomly. It was a great video, and it looked so much fun. So like, what spurs you on to do those kind of random moto camping adventures? I
mean, that one was incredible. It was an absolute eye opener for me, and made me realise I just love doing that sort of thing. I work shifts, and I get like a week off every month, sort of thing, on my usual shift pattern.
Okay.
Furlough and all that sort of stuff. Now I get a month off every month.
That's one way to look at
it. Yeah, so I mean, I've got time to go off and do things when friends and stuff, they're having to go to work and things. So I kind of have to be self-propelled and be able to go off and do things and entertain myself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, that one was quite good fun because I didn't really know exactly where I was going to end up. I just went down to Portsmouth and got on the first ferry that was available, and it could have got me to Spain, it could have got me to the Channel Islands, it could have got me to France. But yeah, it got me to the Isle of Wight.
Which does look really cool. I'm definitely going to have to...
It's a brilliant island. I recommend it. And this coming year, 2021, it's got things going on. I mean, like, you've got the Isle of Wight TT, if that happens. I don't know whether it will now, but if that happens, that'll be incredible. And I've got the campsite booked for that if it happens.
yeah, I saw that. I really hope it happens. I really hope it happens. Really do. I still have to get across the Isle of Man, but even just having, like, because we're so lucky in Ireland and the UK to have as many road races as we have. Like, if you look at, like, they just don't have them in America because they don't have the roads for them. They just don't exist. There are none.
I mean, I suppose they could have drag racing, couldn't they?
They have drag racing, and they have in fairness, they have a lot of tracks. We have one track in Ireland, which sucks.
That does suck. That does suck.
It does really suck. But like we can't, like we've so many good road races here. Like even where I was living in Cork, literally 10 minutes away from my house was where the Munster 100 was on, and it was great to see it back. It was supposed to be on again this year. I have the sticker right here on my desk, and I hope that comes back next year as well. And I hope a lot, because a lot of that stuff it really relies heavily on people attending funding wise. So I hope they all get to go ahead, because it'd be a pity to see them drop away. And speaking of funding, one thing that I don't think is at risk is track days, and you have done a number of track days in your time.
I have. I have indeed. Started way before YouTube for me. Back in 2007, I think I did my first track day. It was all going great until the last lap of the last session, where I fell off.
Yeah, I've heard this story. All right, you got pretty badly hurt.
I broke my back and pelvis, so I got a 10-month paid holiday from work.
Again, one way to look at it. Yeah. I like the whole bright side spin and everything here. It's good.
Well, you got to look positive on things.
Yeah, that's true.
It was one of the best days of my life up until that moment. It was so exciting, exhilarating, and even after that, I massively recommend to anyone to go and do a track day. I mean, unless you ride a dirt bike and that's all you've got, go and do a track day. If you've got a street bike, it doesn't matter. I mean, I ride my Moto Guzzi on track, my V7, and it's got 50 horsepower, and I've got the biggest grin out of all of them.
Yeah, 100%. And you're like, you can ride that Moto Guzzi on track. He has it on YouTube. Go look.
Yeah, and it's actually one of my favourite track day videos is the one on the V7.
It looked like so much fun. And next year, 2021, if all goes to plan, I will be on the track with at least 2 bikes. So I'm definitely going to have the CBF on track, because I'm actually far more comfortable on that bike than I thought I would be, particularly after the suspension change, which is not on the channel yet, but it will be. I've way too many videos to edit at the moment. Good complaint. But yeah, 2021, going to be on track with the CBF, hopefully the Gixxer, and I would love to take the Magna on track too, because I think it'd just be hilarious.
That really would.
Yeah, but I don't know about noise limits. I don't know, will it be allowed on? And because they're the stock exhausts, I can't really do much about it. So
what are the tyres like on it?
On the Magna, I actually have, that's an interesting one. I keep meaning to do a review for them. I have Michelin Commander 2s, and I no joke, right? I know this sounds like it's just me talking it up, but ever since I redid the front forks on that, and obviously I have the Hagon shocks in the back, and I added a fork brace from, they're actually based in the UK, Fast Tech.
I remember you getting that.
Yeah, that bike is so planted. I have more confidence on that bike around corners than any other bike I own. And I mean that, which is, it's saying a lot. At the same speed as well, like back roads near here, where if you're doing...
You don't hang around when you're riding, do you?
No, not really, no. I like to go a little bit fast, but not crazy fast. There's people who are out there who do,
it's weird. I get a lot of comments, and I'm sure you do as well, because we've got quite narrow roads where we ride, haven't we?
Yeah.
And people think we're flying really fast, and it's not. It's just the way the camera makes it look.
Exactly.
If I showed my speedo, you'd see that the numbers weren't particularly stupid.
Yeah.
There's still a reason for not showing the numbers.
Yeah. but it's not as bad as people think. But yeah, that's one thing. And actually, I have to say, between yourself and Moto Dragon and what would Grant do, the three of you are the chief people to blame for me, going all out and getting my race suit and stuff to go on track next year. So every time you put out a video,
get a back protector.
I actually, I have to get one, because there's space in the suit for it. I just haven't got one yet, but I definitely will.
On that track day, I had a brand new Island Ness kangaroo skin suit. I'd bought it from some bike shop, Hungaric or something like that. I can't remember. Cost me over £1,000, and I bought it on finance. I hadn't even made a payment on it, and it got turned into a rug. And yeah,
that hurts. Had I
spent another £100, I wouldn't have broken my back.
Really? Is that
because I didn't have a back protector?
Oh shit! Okay.
It probably smashed my pelvis even harder, because you transfer impact to somewhere else, don't you? But I'd have probably been a lot better after that one.
There's a pro tip for you: if you're going to do a track day, make sure you have a back protector from a man who knows what he's talking about. But I think that should swiftly bring us on to your bike history. Now, you do have a new bike, but we will save that till the very end. you have, and I know you've done videos in this, but just for the people who have not seen them yet, do you want to run us quickly as you can, through your pretty extensive and impressive motorcycle history?
Wow. I'll probably get it in the wrong order and miss some.
That's okay. That's okay. Get the key points.
I started off at 16 on a Honda MT5, which was a pretend trials bike looking thing. It wasn't a trials bike, but it looked like one. And I thought I was the coolest kid in school. Then I had a Honda CB100N, which was brilliant because it was faster than all the restricted 125s because the hundreds weren't restricted. So it was just brilliant bike that was. Then what was after the for Yamaha RD 125, Kawasaki AR 125, a KMX 200, which was a trails bike type thing. I never took it off road, but I really wish I had. VFR 400, that was cool. That was my first sports bike. Ducati 750 Monster, that was my first ever new bike. That was. But when I joined the Navy, they made me sell that because I owed too much money and I was starting at an apprenticeship wage, and I wouldn't be able to afford it.
Fair enough. Yeah,
annoyingly though, as soon as I joined, they changed the employment laws and bumped up our wages to minimum wage, and I'd have been able to afford the finance on it. But I wouldn't have been able to ride it for ages anyway because
you were in the Navy.
Then I got a Honda CBR 600. Which was a cracking bike, really fast. And then from the 600, what did I do then? Oh God, I can't remember. I'm on the spot now. I know. I got a Triumph 1050 Speed Triple, one of the first 1050s, and that was probably one of my favourite-ish road bikes I had. That was a fun bike. Then I did that track day. Bust my back while recovering. I bought myself a GSX-R 750 Phantoms, which was an incredible bike. I was doing a track day while I was off work sick. That was when I went to Brands Hatch for the first time on that, which was brilliant, and fell in love with that track. Then I had a Supermoto KTM 640 Supermoto or something like that, which was a tub of lard and I hated it. Then I got a Husqvarna Sm510, which was a fantastic, proper
chef's kiss for that bike.
that was it. That's one of the bikes I regret selling.
They're fantastic looking yokes.
I traded it in for a Ducati.
I remember this bit.
The 1098 Street Fighter S, which was at the time one of the most expensive bikes I'd ever owned. Öhlins this and all the fancy carbonite. To look at, it was the most amazing motorcycle ever. It handled like shit. It wouldn't go around corners. I felt like the people that I get annoyed with on track days.
Yes, yeah. But at least you know why they ride like that, because they might have a bike that handles like that.
Then I think I have missed a bike, but who cares?
People, if they want to see the whole list, they can go watch a video.
Yeah, it's good. They should watch the video. There is a video, 30 years of biking or something like that, and there's a list of about 30 bikes in there. But yeah, the more modern times. Recently I had a KTM 390 Duke, a Triumph 765, which was amazing. I had a couple of dirt bikes, and I've got my Moto Guzzi V7, which I bought new in 2012. And as you can see, it's not really that standard anymore.
No, not at all. Great picture, by the way.
To be honest, that's a camera phone pic, that is. I was well impressed with that.
Really?
Yeah.
That is impressive.
And that I've had since new, and it sort of, just before I started the channel, actually, was when I got back into biking, and I'd had to sit down and I took the bike around Europe and did a track day on it. And then I just completely lost the love of riding on the roads in the UK because it's raining, the roads were rubbish, and I just had enough of it. So my leathers nearly got hung up. But then I thought I'd either customise the bike or sell it. So I ended up customising it.
It's crazy how many people feel like that, though. I know so many people who ride, you know, in Spain or something, and then come back to Ireland, and obviously our climate and weather is pretty much the same as yours. And yeah, there's so many people who feel like that it's just like, you know, what's the point? It's nearly like, you know, have a bike for 3 months of the year if we're lucky. So I'm lucky in that I've never ridden outside of Ireland yet. That was supposed to be fixed this year, but anyway.
You need to get to Spain.
Oh, I need to get to Spain. I've driven it the whole time, and you can ask my girlfriend about this. We went there, and the whole time we were there, like every corner we came across, is like, I should be on a bike. I should be on a bike.
Mm-hmm.
This would be perfect for a bike. And I had a cool little Fiat 500 rental. It was fun, but it's not the same. And then I think we need to talk about the new bike in your stable.
Yeah, it's again, it's another Moto Guzzi. It's the V85 TT, McDonald's colours.
They're beautiful.
I'm loving it.
Like the funny thing about those colors is I think it's like, you know, it's love it or hate it, but I think I said it to you already. I saw that in a showroom when it was brand new out, that that color scheme and everything, and I spent 10 to 15 minutes just standing there drooling over it. And this was just after I started my channel. Actually, it was about nearly 2 years ago now, I suppose. And I just stood there and I looked at it and I looked at the price, and I was like, I could afford that in finance, probably, maybe. I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been completely broke. And I love my CBF. You know, my CBF it still amazes me that they don't make something in that class anymore, because it's such a good bike.
It's such a shame that the sports tourer class is sort of, I wouldn't say it's disintegrated, but it's changed so much now.
It's ADVs, isn't it?
Yeah, everything's ADV bikes now, or pseudo ADV bikes. Yeah, and I'm sure it's because it's easier for them to make engines that suit ADV bikes than it is to make sports tour engines compliant with emissions. Because basically, the sports tourers were just old sports bike engines detuned a bit, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
They can't use those engines anymore because they don't pass Euro 4, Euro 5 or whatever.
They're all gone to two-cylinder engines and stuff. And in fairness, if you watch the, do you know when 44 Teeth went to the Nürburgring?
The budget bike battle ones, or
no, when they went over on the GS and the Super Adventure and the Triumph Tiger Explorer,
right?
And like, I think that kind of showed it up when Fagan was on the 1290 Super Adventure. It just shows like that was so capable around the Nürburgring, and that's, you know, the big 1290 twin. How do you compete with that, you know? And the GS is such a good bike. It pains me to say it because there's such snooty riders of them. Sorry, Teapot One, but you know, they're an amazingly good bike. There's no taking away from it. They are. I never forget, and it's actually in the video for the Munster 100 I did. You know, you have all these super sport bikes coming flying around the track, and not that far behind them is one of the Marshalls on a GS.
Yep. And
he was legitimately not that far behind them. Like that guy was moving on that GS, which is, I mean, it shouldn't be able to do that. but I agree with you.
Teapot One throwing his bike around. I mean, like,
oh yeah,
the bikes he borrows over in, was it? Where's it they go?
The Picos. He's a couple of different places he goes on his tours.
Damn them.
Damn him and his genius idea of starting a motorbike touring company. We love you really, Teapot, but yeah, he's
definitely.
We'll just shake our fists at him in respect, and also, you know, jealousy. But I agree, it's a pity that, you know, the detuned super sports engines are no longer a thing for sports tours, because, you know, I had the Phaser, which was a detuned R6 engine, and that bike is fantastic. I don't regret selling it, but I wish I still had it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But the CBF, like, it's funny because the amount of people have commented to me that it's only 100 horsepower. Say, oh, okay, go ride it and tell me it's only 100 horsepower. Yeah, it might not do 300 kilometers an hour, but
far more fun on that KTM 390 Duke, on my Moto Guzzi V7, and on my new V85 TT. The 390 Duke and the V7 are under 50 horsepower.
Yeah,
and you on the road and even on track, unless you're blooming Valentino Rossi, you don't need. You might want,
you
might enjoy, but you don't need 1 million horsepower.
Look, this is something I have said repeatedly. The Gixxer, when it's done, is going to be my most powerful bike, and that's 126 brake horsepower. But I probably will be able to go faster on almost all of the roads that I ride on the Magna. And the Magna has never failed to make me, smile ear to ear when I take that thing out. It makes all the right noises. You get to rev it through every single gear because it's not that fast.
It is one of the nicest sounding bikes on YouTube.
It's just fantastic. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do for you? I still have an as of yet unreleased raw sound Super Magna video. I'll send you the link for it after this unlisted. You can have a listen because I'm very happy with how that one turned out. It was all back roads, twisty back roads. So it sounds, but that's what I mean. It just makes me smile. And I agree with you. You don't need the crazy horsepower numbers to have fun. Definitely if you're, a really good rider, they're of use on track and stuff. But, my CBF tops out at 230 something kilometers an hour. Don't ask me how I know that. But I'm never going to need to go faster than that on the road.
I mean, I'm on my 4th driving license now. Shh, don't. And I'm sick of losing my license. It's all for speeding, and stuff like that. In my irresponsible youth, I haven't got time for that anymore. So give me a slow bike that I can ride fast and not get a ban on. Brilliant. I'll have one of them, please.
Yeah, and like that's it. Because even if you're really really pushing the Magna, it once you go past 140, you're just not comfortable on it because it's so it's same as the V7. It's just you're so exposed on it and stuff. So 140 kilometers an hour, and the beauty of that is if you get caught at 140 in most roads, you're not going to lose your license. You're going to get a fairly hefty slap on the wrist, but you're not going to lose your license. So it's that's one way to look at it.
Off.
Yeah. It's like here's a fine and here's some penalty points, but on you go. So that's better than you're going to jail, which is
that happens, doesn't it, these days?
Yeah. If you get caught doing, I mean, I have arguments. I've had arguments and discussions with people over speeding. I do think speed limits are too low in certain areas, and definitely a lot of people drive too slow. But at the same time, you do have to respect the fact that someone who goes 150 kilometers an hour. yeah. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's
ABS.
yeah, ABS and all that. It all helps. So yeah, if you have ABS, you can do 200 kilometers an hour. Perfect. But no, when people speed where there's people walking and children running and playing, yeah, it's fair enough. You shouldn't do that near kids and stuff. But empty back roads.
Too right. Progress.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Maybe that's what it's called. So do you want to talk a little bit, because you mentioned earlier how the V7 is highly customized, and I think it's something that, again, you and I share in common, that we just can't leave bikes alone at all. I tried.
I don't want to molest. I still end up doing so.
Yes, exactly. Like the CBF, I was like, no, you know what? I'm just going to keep it for a few years. It's going to be perfect, and I'm not going to touch anything. I've already done the exhaust, the shock. I already have the bars planned. The front forks have to be changed and rebuilt to add extra springs. It's just. But talk us through the mods you've done in the V7, because it's really impressive what you've done at that bike. And I think, by the way, the finished product to me is magnificent.
It's not finished.
Well, the currently finished project. They're never finished. They're never finished. That's true. Until
the day you sell them. Well, like I say, I sort of was two minds whether I hang up my leathers or customize it, and I went the customizing route. To start with, I did what everyone does: exhaust pipes and suspension on the V7s. And the exhaust pipes were kind of just tubes. There was no silencer there.
Yeah. Straight pipe.
Just a noise machine. And it all looked grand. And the suspension on the V7 is rubbish out the box, so everyone sort of changes the rear suspension. But I went a step further, and I got K-Tech front fork cartridges put in, and got it all set up for my weight and stuff like that. Then I changed the dashboard on it. Before, you had like these big old clocks, kind of like you've got on your Magna and stuff like that. And I changed them for a 50 pence size dashboard, which works exactly the same way as the other stuff. That's one of my favorite mods on it, is that, because it's got all the information there, but it's just little.
Yeah.
And I like little things. changed the bars and all that sort of stuff, the usual things. But then I got the frame chopped and a custom seat, and realised that this very practical motorcycle, when I bought it, that you could tour around Europe on, now is absolutely useless for anything apart from sunny Sundays, or else you get covered in water. So I chopped down the front mudguard as well, just to help out with that. And got some Kinyo wheels, and again, they're another one of my favourite mods.
They're beautiful.
They were. My local dealership, not dealership, but local shoppers wrecked the rear wheel on that, which is something I'm not chuffed about, but they are going to fix it. That's the project for winter.
What happened?
They would put tires on it and they just scraped all the paint off. Yeah, not their best moment.
No, I can't imagine. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on from that before you get murdered.
Accidents happen.
Yeah. At least they're fixing it.
Yeah. But yeah, so Kinyo wheels on there, and that was it, I thought, for a while. And then it wasn't. The exhaust pipes were obnoxious. They give you a headache on longer journeys. And I did a 650-mile ride to go and get some lunch in Cornwall one day on it with those exhaust pipes. And when I got back, not only was I walking like John Wayne because it's not that comfortable, my ears, I had tinnitus for a couple of weeks afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really, really bad.
I don't think I have my keys here. It's actually something I have on the Magna. You know those little Alpine, little bullets with the earplugs in them? I always have them on my keys because it's the same with the Magna. If you're going over 100 miles, you really need the earplugs in. It's a very, very loud bike. So yeah, I understand.
With the new bike, I'm going to have to start wearing earplugs, not because of the noise of the bike, but because of the wind. It's really noisy.
So you're so high up?
I think it's just because it's got a fairing, so it just funnels it all at your crash helmet.
You see, now this is something I've been trying to explain to people. So many people have asked me why. I keep my fairings quite low to me, because all the air hits me kind of. You can't even see where my hand is.
That's a full height fairing for normal people, though.
But lots of people have asked me why I don't make it taller for me, but I actually rather, because what a fairing does is it doesn't eliminate the wind. It takes it off a certain party, but then it focuses the rest like a blast into a band. And if that hits you in the face, and that's something that I did have an issue with the phaser, because I put the tall screen on the phaser. I listened to people, and all that tall screen did was just drive the wind right into here. And then you got,
straight up.
And you're just getting buffeting all the time. Put the low screen back on, and it's a touch more noisy in certain cases, but I didn't have that focused blast of air, which actually was really loud if I sat up straight. So I was always, tucking on the phaser, which wasn't very comfortable. So yeah, I completely understand what you mean there.
I'd say to any upcoming motor vlogger, have a naked bike. It's easier to sort your audio.
Yeah, it's easier to sort the audio out, and I personally think that it visually looks better out over the bars. Like I always love looking out over the bars myself on the Magna, and even when you're on the Guzzi, it just looks good. Well, on the V7, I can't say the Guzzi anymore because you have two of them now.
Yeah, and they're so different. But yeah, with the V7, I kind of thought I want to make it more track day friendly, because I couldn't use it. The only track I could use it on with the exhaust I had previously was Anglesey, because it's the middle of nowhere. Whereas Brands Hatch and all that, they've got proper serious noise testing, and they'll throw you off the circuit if you're boom. So I fitted some Mistral exhaust pipes to it, which added 10 mile an hour instantly to the motorcycle's top speed.
Right.
It showed how terrible those exhaust pipes I had on it were.
Yeah, they were really bad for the bike.
Just put exhaust pipes on it and it would go 10 mile an hour faster. And so then I can stick some baffles in them, and it's a little bit more track day friendly. And it also means if I do a longer trip, I can put them in and not burst my eardrums. And
not go deaf, which is always pleasant. Hearing things at the end of the trip is nice.
And talking of all the practical things I did to the bike, I took the rubber-mounted comfortable Renthal bars that I had fitted to it, and put some clip-on bars which are mounted directly to the forks. And now you get all the vibrations of a V-twin coming up the forks.
But they look great.
That's great, but it keeps your fingers like you put them in stinging nettles. And I also took the rubber-mounted foot pegs off and put LSL rear sets on it, which are like putting your feet in stinging nettles. It's brilliant. It's the most practical motorcycle ever.
But it looks
puts a
great.
huge grin on my face.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's the thing. It still puts that grin on my face whenever I ride it. I don't care, even if it's uncomfortable. I don't care. I mean, even if I had to ride it upside down or backwards or something, it just the grin it puts on the inside of your brain.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Like, honestly, I think that bike, and we must do it someday. I will ride over to England on the Magna and we'll swap bikes, because
Definitely.
I think that you would ride the Magna and just be like, oh yeah, this just a V7. You know, they do the same thing. They're both uncomfortable. They're both impractical. They're both not very fast. They're both probably a little bit too loud, but they're probably the most fun you can have on a bike. You know, I don't know. I think that's
I'm well up for that, mate. I'm well up for that.
100%. And back to the V85 and the color scheme. That red frame is gorgeous. And anyone who tells you that the color scheme isn't nice, they're wrong. We'll accept that now. But
they can't help it. It's a birth defect.
It's unfortunately incurable. So we'll just feel sorry for them and move on. But do you have any mods planned for that straight off the bat, or are you gonna leave it alone for now?
Well, have ordered an exhaust pipe for it. It's turning up in a few weeks.
Ooh, what you get?
It's a Zard, is it? I think it's a Zard.
It starts with a Z, is it?
It starts with a Z, yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know the one. Yeah, I've seen them. They look nice.
Yeah, it does actually, and it matches the bike a bit better than the standard one that's fitted on it.
Standard exhausts suck.
Went wrong. I'm just trying to work out what exhaust pipe I did get. You thought I'd know this, since it cost me £600. Zard, yeah, Zard is Zard. Yeah,
they do look very nice. I've seen them, but I think you kind of, and it's funny. I honestly knew people existed who enjoyed stock exhaust, but I got a comment the other day on the video where I was changing the exhaust on the CBF, and someone said they actually liked the stock exhaust on the CBF. Now, you couldn't hear them.
Yeah,
they like the stock exhaust in the CBF. They did a great job as silencers, because they were silent. It was honestly, there was more noise when I rode the Zero SRF than there was of that CBF. Even at fairly high revs, that bike, it's pretty quiet. Like, and even with the 400mm debaffled Black Widows that are on it, it's still not that loud. You know,
unless you put your voice recorder by it when you're doing one of your raw videos.
Yeah, and even then, the CBF is still pretty quiet. Like, I could probably swallow the voice recorder for the Magna and it's still going to be loud, you know. But yeah, so it does surprise me that people who like standard exhaust exist. And no disrespect to them, if they like that, they like that. But I found it funny because one person who's told me before they liked quiet exhausts also said they hated electric motorcycles because they're too quiet. And I was like,
that's bizarre.
You're a strange person. But anyway, we won't focus on that. So other than the exhaust, is there anything else you can tell us about the V85 that you plan on changing, or is it pretty perfect?
At the moment, it's pretty perfect. I mean, it's a bike that I've bought to do some miles on, do some touring and stuff like that. So I don't really want to make it impractical.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was very much in two minds about doing the exhaust pipe because, like we said with the V7, it's obnoxious and it hurts your ears. And a touring bike, you don't want it to hurt your ears. You want to be able to just jump on it and go forever. And with a 23-litre tank, 400 kilometre minimum range, it's pretty awesome.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. So I can't really see much to it, but it will happen. Mods will happen.
By accident.
Oops.
Yeah.
I want to get some bigger handguards for it because the standard ones don't really do much. They just show. I've already I've already put on a second front mudguard off an Aprilia, which is a low-level one, because it's got the high-level mudguard, so all the rubbish off winter gets thrown up at the very pretty engine, and I don't want it getting thrown up at the very pretty engine. I want the very pretty engine to look very pretty. Yeah,
of course.
So I put that on, and that's was one of the first things I felt I had to do. And now, I don't know really. I mean, it's going green laning and stuff, so I don't really want to do a huge amount to it. I spec'd it quite well though. I mean, I got crash bars put on it, and heated grips and things like that.
And you got your cases and all that as well. Like that's all. Those are all technically mods as well.
Yeah, I mean that's another one. The top box on it was an extra. Got a Gibby top box, but I can't see there being much to do. I do want to have a play around with the screen though. I might make something. If I'm trying to get in touch with Hippo-Drones, but they're not returning my emails. They currently don't do anything for the V85. So I'm like, here's a bike. You can practice on it.
Yeah, I'm surprised really, because like the V85 is for a Moto Guzzi, it seems pretty popular.
It's incredibly popular. They're selling out of them when they're doing their runs of them and stuff like that. It's I think it's a little wolf in sheep's clothing or something. It's one of those just unsung heroes.
Yeah.
And I think it will do a world of good, like the V7 has for Moto Guzzi, in sort of introducing people to the brand. But I met a guy up today when I was out on the bike. I met a guy up at Newlands Corner, and he was on a Yamaha T7.
Yep.
And he'd been doing the lanes and stuff like that. And he said, I looked at these sort of thing, but I mean, it's a Moto Guzzi, it's going to break down. I said, well, my V7, the only thing that's ever happened with that is me do stupid things to it. And the only time it's ever been unreliable was in Monaco, which you'd have thought, like, well, that's almost practically in its hometown.
Yeah.
A little bit excited. It just got a little bit hot.
Which happens with bikes like that in traffic in Monaco at 30-something degrees Celsius.
They're called engines and traffic jams, so they're never going to be friends.
Exactly. Which is hilariously the only what is it? It's only California and America that's it's legal to lane split, and the reason they brought in lane splitting or filtering for normal people is air-cooled engines and overheating in traffic. That's actually why it's legal there. That's where that law comes from. I looked it up after I spoke to someone about lane splitting / filtering in America. And that's where it came from. So it's
so odd that they're not allowed to lane split out there.
Mental, completely mental.
I mean, it's just for the safety aspect of it. But then everyone's got a gun, so would you really want to like annoy someone?
Well, that's
nothing in front of them.
The funny thing is, I did a podcast 2 weeks ago with Monkey, but I don't know if you watch him, but he's a really nice guy, and we were talking about filtering, and that was honestly his reaction was, even if you made it legal, 50% of people minimum would still try to kill you because people are a little bit unbalanced sometimes. And, you know, as you said, they have guns, and it'd take 25 years for them to get used to people filtering. Because, and the funny thing is, even here in Ireland, people still go insane over filtering. Even when you explain to them it's safer and stuff, they don't care. They just don't like you doing it.
You see cars sort of pulling into your way to block you from going down the side of them and stuff, and you're like, well, that's fair enough. And then they go around the side of the vehicle on the other side of them and stuff them.
Yeah, exactly.
or just plus part them on the next set of traffic lights. I've
had people open doors on me in traffic and everything. Yeah, I
saw a YouTube video or a Facebook video of some American guy. I mean, he was some old geezer, and he just really didn't like the fact that these motorbikes were trying to overtake him. So he just pulled out and crashed into him. And when they said, "Why did you do that?" he said, "I don't care. It's just some crazy dude."
Like that is the only thing that scares me, is that there could be some nut job in a car who just decides, I don't like you. Please don't do that. But moving on to some more cheerful topics. So we know you have the V85, which is magnificent. I genuinely, I know I messaged you on it, and I know I said it in a comment. I am so happy you got that bike, because I'm just going to live vicariously through you riding it, because I genuinely would love one. They're beautiful, and best of luck with it. But is there one bike that you see in the next 5 years or in your mind that's floating around that you just really have to have?
Yes, there's two.
Oh, go on.
Actually, one of them I'm not going to, because I've changed my mind on it.
Okay.
That was the Aprilia RS660.
Fair. They do look fantastic, though.
They do look fantastic, and they've got old man handlebars, so that my belly isn't going to be a hindrance on them. And they've got my kind of horsepower, sort of, with them being 100 horsepower. So when you're overtaking someone, you've earned that.
They're not too fast.
Yeah. The trouble is like all the videos I've seen so far, maybe it's because they've put sports bike riders on them. but they all kind of like, they might be going, yes, this is brilliant, but you can see their soul is snapped in half and they're crying on the inside when they're telling you that it's good. Even 44 Teeth, they got a motorcycle racer who actually said he wants to race one on the TT or something, didn't he? Which is a big selling point. But actually, as a bike, he couldn't see the point in it, because it didn't do anything a sports bike does that you can do better on a 600 or 1000, and it didn't do anything better than a roadster can do, because you're still sort of in a racing position, and you've only got 100 horsepower.
Yeah, I mean, I get all that, but I think you kind of, from my point, I think you got it straight off the bat that they've put people who really like really fast bikes on them. Like, you put me or you on them, we'd probably fall in love with it straight away, because it's so well built.
I mean, I think if they put TMF on one, I mean, yes. I'm not sort of criticising his riding, but he's more of a sensible rider.
Yeah.
He enjoys riding fast, but he doesn't go.
He doesn't go crazy.
Yeah. So I think someone like him reviewing the bike, I think, would be perfect. Whereas getting an ex-super stock or super sport rider to review a bike that is primarily designed for street riding is the wrong person.
Yeah.
But seeing their faces and their soul being destroyed on it, I just think, would I be making a very expensive bad mistake?
I don't know. Like, to be honest, and this is complete plug here, by the way, but Aprilia, put some standard people like myself and Peter on those bikes, see how we react. Because that could, the fact that someone who could have possibly bought one of those bikes has been talked out of it because you put really fast boys on there. Throw some slower boys and girls on there and see how we respond, because I think personally I would probably love it, and I would imagine Pete would too. So it's just a case of getting your test riders right, and we're both available,
Absolutely. And I've got some time off now.
There you go. It's something that's destroying my soul at the moment. The fact that we had lockdown, then we didn't have lockdown, and then we had lockdown by county. And I got up and I did one test ride up in Franklin, which was my CBF that I then bought. And I got my CBF like the week later. I collected it after I test rided it and bought it. And then there is currently an FTR that is registered, an FTR 1200 that is registered, and you know how much I love that bike. And it's sitting there waiting for me to test ride it, and I can't go up and test ride it. And it's eating away at my soul.
and every day getting closer to snowing.
Yeah, and possibly being sold.
Yeah.
That's and because this year I was really hoping to, I like test riding bikes. It's not just because test rides do well in videos. I just like test riding bikes.
I don't, because I like bikes, and then I want that bike.
Oh yeah, but that I want all the bikes anyway. I see one and I'm like, oh yeah, I want that one. So I already have that issue. There's no curing me of it. And my uncle, actually, the one who had the 2019 S1000XR, he actually went and bought the 2020 X1000XR and traded in his 2019 one. So that's also waiting for me to test ride when we're allowed to. So, I have two amazing bikes just waiting for me, and it is genuinely just eating my soul up that I can't go test ride them. So
I can really imagine that.
Yeah, it's tough. But look, we'll get past it. So the R660 is a maybe. Something that was.
I actually I'd spoken to a company when I was dealing with the Moto Guzzi. I found a shop that sells Aprilias and Moto Guzzis, and I said, "Will you do me a deal on the both?" And they went, "No."
Seriously?
I went, "Okay, I'll go and get the Moto Guzzi from the place only 30 minutes away from me then, instead of you, which is an hour and 20.
They said no.
But they couldn't. It's a brand new bike that's really in demand.
Yeah, but
they could have given me a deal on the Moto Guzzi, but no better deal than I was getting from the place I got it from in the end.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure they could have done. If you're coming in and buying two bikes.
Well, this is what I said to them. They didn't seem too keen to take the Triumph off me as a part exchange either.
Really?
Yeah. So I was, well, okay, if you don't want my business.
But those Triumphs are so, that'd sell in no time.
Yeah. It's a low ride height as well. So they are, I wouldn't say they're sought after, but when they come up, the people that are wanting a low ride height bike will travel further for it.
Yeah, they're waiting for them. They're someone who wants a low ride height isn't going to settle for something that isn't the low ride height. They're going to, when they see it, they're going to take it.
Yeah. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
so a bike that I want as well, it doesn't exist yet.
Okay, what might it be?
It's a rock and a hard place here. The one that is existing, I don't know if I want, and the one that I do want, it doesn't exist. And that's the Triumph 1160 Speed Triple.
Oh.
I mean, the 1050 Speed Triple is a phenomenal bike. And
yes.
Had I not heard the rumours of the 1160, I would have got a 1050 Speed Triple. I'd have chopped in my 765 for it ages ago. That demo I took on, all they did was they lent it to me while they were doing a service on my 765.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it. It had cruise control on it, which I think is a thing for every motorcycle from now on, is cruise control. I think it's fantastic. Other people think it's a bit dodgy and dangerous, but you try sitting at a 50 mile an hour average speed camera set.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a phenomenal bike. So the 1160 is only going to be more, as long as they don't go like the Super Duke and the Tuono, where they've just gone insane, and like the Ducati Street Fighter and stuff. They're just insane horsepower monsters. The thing that the Triumph, its selling point is that it's a super retard naked.
Yeah.
But it's a refined one that's not an idiot.
Yes.
And it does it all, but it does it upright like Harry Enfield and horse race.
But just to qualify that, by the way, the Tuono, I would buy one of those tomorrow if I had the money. I love them. And
everyone I know that's had one loves them. They sell them because they're just infuriating, and then they miss them. Yeah,
and I think it's it'll probably be a similar bike to the MT10. Like every time I ride that bike, I want one, because it's like someone walked into an insane asylum and said, okay, everyone, I want the people who you put in the black boxes who are too dangerous to let out, all come into this van, and now we're going to squash you into a shape of a motorbike, and it's an MT10. Like that bike is insane. I love it, but I would lose my license on it.
When I was looking for my 765, because I didn't quite know what I was going to do, I wanted a street bike, and I looked at the MT10, and I tried getting a demo on it. I think it had only recently just come out, so everyone was wanting to demo it.
Yeah.
And just getting hold of one was just a nightmare. And it was like 2 hours in whatever direction I wanted was the closest demo available. And every time I went to get a demo, it had been crashed or broken or something like that.
That'll tell you.
Yeah, so I'm guessing people were just idiots on it, putting wheelies or stuff like that.
I don't think you even need to be an idiot. Like if you get a little bit exuberant with that bike, it will bite you. Like they're no joke. They're no joke, those bikes. They're crazy powerful, and it's something that I think is gonna just keep getting more and more predominant. That look, everyone loves super sports. I love super sports. I still want an R1, but what Yamaha did with that engine is they got all that stupid power that usually lives off up there that you can't use, and they brought it down to where you can use it straight away. And number one, it made things bloody dangerous, because that bike, like I said, it will bite you. There's no, like, even with traction control, it will bite you. Whereas, before, even with super sports, and like I've ridden plenty of super sports in my time, except a Gixxer 1000. I still haven't ridden a Gixxer 1000, and I want to.
Don't ride one with ACF 50 all over the brake discs.
Good tip. Actually, I only just got a new tub of ACF 50. I need to do my CBF for the winter.
I'm getting my V85 done on its first service with a misting.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
That was protected for the crappy winter.
Yeah, it's. I think, look, if you want to keep a bike nice, you got to do it, don't you? And I know even the ceramic coating, I've heard that's amazing. So I might do that eventually as well, because the CBF is nice, apart from the chip that I put in the tank myself, because I'm an idiot that I'm still upset about. But anyway, I'll get it fixed eventually. It looks like I'm going to have to get the whole tank sprayed. Yeah.
New paint job.
you know, that's the option. I might go like gunmetal grey CBF or something that doesn't exist. I don't know. It's funny, and I know we're gone off topic here, but we'll move on in a second. One of my favorite colors I've ever seen was on a Ford Transit, and it was moon dust silver, and it was just like black, cloudy, dark silver. It was stunning, and it was on a van.
Vans are cool, and transits are of the cooler variety.
Oh, they are, but you don't expect them to have the nicest colors.
Transit in my life at some point.
Yeah, if the rules around insuring vans in Ireland weren't completely and utterly stupid, I would already have a van.
Can you not get a camper and just put a ramp in the back? I
can get a camper and put a ramp in the back, and that might be my eventual plan. It's just that
kind of the route I want to go.
Yeah. I think that's, to be honest, as a private individual, as a not a company, I think that's the way I'm going to have to go to get a van. So, you know, because in fairness, it is also handy having vans for winter for commuting to and from work when the weather is really, really, really shit. Vans or cars, it just is. Anyone who says, you know, that they wouldn't take the option of being inside a nice heated capsule, a boring capsule, fine, and be able to drink their coffee on the way to work while it's pouring down, you know, 40, 50 millimeters.
With a Ford, a nice heated windscreen.
You know, cars are not my thing. Bikes are my favorite thing, but they have their place, and their place is for the monsoon rain that we get sometimes. They definitely help there. But look, we'll move on from the modifications and the bikes. Just again, congratulations on the V85. It's absolutely beautiful. I don't want to hold you too long. I know we've already been talking longer than I thought, to be honest. So yeah, it's an hour already. There you go. You're an easy man to talk to about bikes. But I want to talk about YouTube and your YouTube primarily, because it's always something I like to pick people's brains about who also have channels. And everyone I've had on here so far does have a YouTube channel or some form of social media presence. Why YouTube? Why'd you start? Why are you still doing it? Do you still love it?
I started off just watching other motovloggers, and it was an accident, really. In the olden days, when I was still in the Navy, I actually uploaded videos of me riding my motorbikes around Scotland and stuff like that, with a potato camera, and it looked terrible and stuff. And I remember I actually met Raw Jordanian in Vauxhall car park.
Oh, really?
And he had all these cameras and stuff. And I went, well, what's that all about then? I didn't realise it was a thing.
Yeah.
And wandered off and did my own thing, because he had his Nuda and I was there on my Husky.
Oh, that Nuda.
So we had a little chat about the Husqvarnas. And then I didn't do it for ages and ages, because I just thought it was stupid, because what's the point in this? I could just watch the videos on my computer if I want to watch the videos. Thinking that other people might want to watch them.
Yeah.
But I watched a few motovloggers and stuff like that, and some of them I got annoyed with, but actually I've got back into them since, and I really like their content and stuff like that. And other ones I've just grown. I subscribe to over 200 channels, and I watch almost every video that people post. I'm the same. It's time consuming. It is time consuming. Yeah, 100%. But yes, I absolutely love it, and I don't quite know how to put my finger on what I love about it. I like the fact that when I'm making a video, it's kind of creative, so I feel like I've done something productive that day. Definitely, yeah. And I enjoy the editing sort of process of reliving a ride. The 360 cameras and stuff like that. It just adds a new dimension. I just think as someone who likes action cameras and stuff like that, we're in this transitional phase right now where I think 360 cameras will at some point take over from regular action cameras. Definitely. I've already decided the next track day I do, I'm not going to use a normal action camera. I'm only going to use two 360 cameras. I've got plenty of options for action cameras that produce much better quality video. Yeah. I can do better with two 360 cameras, one at the front, one at the back. Well, you just have crazy coverage. Yeah. And so, we're in this transitional phase, and I love that. I mean, it's why I've got so many cameras sitting in front of me and behind me and just everywhere I look in the room. It's because I just love that sort of technology. And you need one of these, you need one of these.
It's actually funny, that vote I put up, the Xbox or the camera, it was, I lost it. The story went before I got to take a screenshot. It was 29 votes for the Xbox and 28 votes for the Instat. That's how close it was.
Right.
And if I had added my own vote, I didn't vote. But if I had added my own vote, it would have been for the Instas. It would have been a dead heat. I think it's just something I'm gonna. Every time I click on their website and I see the price, I'm going, you know what? I'll hold on a little bit longer. But really, the fact that, and I think I asked you this about 360s. I remember when you got the GoPro Max, like a long time ago, and I said, okay, I want to get one. That's how longer I've been thinking about getting one. So I should really, because you have so many ideas when you're planning videos or whatever else, and it's just the amount of times I'm thinking, oh, I could have done this with a 360, I could have done this with a 360. And at the time I did decide to buy the drone first, and I'm not upset about that. I love my drone, I love what it's made me be able to do, but I still think I want the 360
with the drone when you're allowed to use it.
Yes, and the good thing about Ireland is we're pretty much allowed to use it everywhere except near airports, which is fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, you're very lucky where you are. Whereas over here, and particularly with my job, if I got into trouble for doing something with a drone, that would be me losing my job, I think.
Fair enough.
It's something. I mean, I got rid of my drone, and like I said at the start of this video, I was never a drone channel. It was just coincidence
that you had a drone.
But yeah. So yes, I love YouTube. I can't see me being on any other platform. For a while, everyone was like, "Oh, I'm going to ditch YouTube and go on to something else." I don't know what they thought they were going to go on. There's no need. YouTube is YouTube. It's got an audience. It's got a searching facility. It's you can trust that if you want to find a video on something, you're pretty much going to find it on there. And if you can't find that video, make it, and then you'll get some views.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things with my how-to videos. I did a terrible. In fact, actually, most of my how-to videos are terrible. My best performing video, or most viewed video, is one of my worst spannering skilled videos ever of fitting an exhaust pipe to my KTM 390.
But do you know what's really cool? And it's something that I'm actually immensely proud of. If you search Honda Super Magna, Honda space Super Magna, and just scroll down the page to the videos, the very, very first result in videos on Google is my Honda Super Magna review. I'm not kidding you. Like,
amazing.
Someone else told me that, and ever since I check it every once in a while. I just clicked it there. I am so proud of that. So probably stupidly proud, but
deservedly so. You are a YouTube or internet pioneer in Magnas.
In Super Magnas, yeah. It's funny because like a lot of people who found some of the videos found them through because they'd be searching for Do It With Dan related things because he has his Magna. Yeah. But his is the Gen 3, and in my opinion,
it was a death trap, wasn't it? Didn't have any brakes or only had a rear brake or something.
Yeah, and his throttle stuck and everything. That was funny. It was funny, but it's funny how many people think that. They say, oh, you must have seen it on Do It Dance channel. It's like, no. I've wanted a Super Magna since I was like around 10, 11, 12 years old. I'm not sure when it was, but it was around then that I saw one first, and I was like,
oh, on your wall and all that.
Oh yeah, like the upswept exhaust and everything. It just captured my attention. Whereas the Gen 3, it just looks like a cruiser. Like I do like them, but they just look like cruisers. The Super Magna it's special, so that's. I always wanted one of them. But no, I completely agree with you on the YouTube thing. I know people always talk about, I'm sick of YouTube and stuff. And I'm guilty of that too. I get pissed off some days when, you're doing well and you're lying. Everything is kind of like getting this many views, and then it just goes, bloop. It's like, where did everyone go? And you're like, goddamn YouTube. But
I took 2 weeks off a month or so ago. I think furlough, and I just felt rubbish. And I didn't have any content, and it was just like, stuff it. I'm taking 2 weeks off, and I'm not going to stress about it. And I had a wonderful 2 weeks of not stressing about it.
Yeah.
And then I come back and start uploading again, and I'm like looking at the stats, and I don't want it to be about the stats. I hate it being about the stats. But you look at the stats and go, I haven't recovered. And I still look at it now, and although I'm getting more views now than I was beforehand, the overall stats are still down, and I'm like, why do I care?
Yeah,
What do I care?
100%. And it's funny because I don't, it might not even be the fact you took the break, because literally exactly coinciding with when I released my thank you for 2,000 subscribers video with the nice drone works and stuff over the old church, everything dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
And that really annoyed me for like a week or two. I was like, what have I done wrong? But I don't know. I think, whether are people watching cooking videos for a few months or something, you just have to not worry about it. I think that's the biggest piece of advice from me anyway. If you're starting YouTube, it will annoy you, as Pete said. You will look at it, but just try not to worry about it too much. Because there's days it will get to you.
Keep it as a hobby and fun, and then just enjoy it. Be passionate about it, but don't worry about the numbers.
Yeah, you will, but just try not to.
3,000 subs for Christmas.
Yeah. I think you'll get there. Like you're.
I think I will. Actually, on the forum, I run a motor vlogging forum, and there's a thread on there of what's your next channel goal, sort of thing. And I'd looked at my stats when I shouldn't have been looking at them. I was like, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there by my anniversary for Christmas.
Yeah. I'm
going to get to the 3,000 subscribers. So I put that's my next channel goal, is to get to that. And literally I put that up and I think I lost 3 subscribers.
Yeah, that's always the way. It just swings and roundabouts. You get some and then you lose some the next day. It's always up and down. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think again, you probably suffer from the same thing as I do, is that your channel is so varied that, you might have some people who subscribe to you purely for V7 content or purely for green laning content. And, maybe if you don't do one of those two things for 6 months, those people are going to unsubscribe, which is natural. It's fine. It's fair.
It was something I worried about when I changed bikes, when I got rid of the Triumph and got the second Moto Guzzi, was that I was like, well, I'm not going to gain a huge amount of traction from the Guzzi because I've already got a Moto Guzzi sort of contingent Moto Guzzi army, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lose the Triumph one. But actually, the V85 is such a popular bike; it's brought in a lot of traction. So hopefully, it was a good choice. But as far as channel growth goes and stuff like that,
yeah, which is it's so far down the list when you're buying a bike. It's
yeah, and you've got to buy the bike you want.
Yeah,
if I want to enjoy this motorcycle.
if I had thought about any of that at all, I definitely wouldn't have bought what is a relatively obscure CBF.
They get their own little cult following, though.
Yeah, definitely. But I would imagine that cult following will end up hating me because I'll be like, bringing my CBF up a mountain and stuff, and slating it for its.
I'm sure I shot most 50% of all Moto Guzzi owners hate me because of my V7.
They just haven't learned to live yet. So
they don't know what a wet bum is.
No, they don't, and they probably don't want to. But they don't realize how pretty it is. If they, anyone, just duck there for a second. If anyone doesn't think that is a beautiful bike, there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry. It's just gorgeous. Yeah, I don't know. I love that bike.
Yeah. You definitely have to have a go on it when you get over it.
And take lots of photos of it and then put them as screensavers and stuff. So before we finish up, is there if you could give one piece of advice to a newbie rider, because you've been riding so long, I like to ask very experienced riders this, what would it be?
It's really weird because, doing this YouTube thing, you get to know people from different countries. Whereas if I was just looking at this as a UK thing, I'd be like, stop trying to get 1,000cc sports bike. Because you can't use it. You can't use it on the road.
Yeah.
You will crash it. And you'll be really sad because it will be your pride and joy and you'll crash it. So stop chasing the horsepower, start chasing the grins, and realise, it's like A2 licensed bikes are so much fun. That KTM 390 was brilliant. So you don't need big power because you can have so much fun on what's available on the smaller stuff.
Yep.
So don't stress about big CCs and big horsepower numbers. Learn to ride, get some traction, tuition, do a track day with instruction. Don't sit there and go down the pub and all your mates take the piss out of you and you think that's important. Get the bike, but learn to ride the bike. So, get some extra tuition. and it's something I need to do as well. I mean, I've been riding over 30 years now, and I've still not had any track tuition, and that's on my goal list of 2021.
That, to be honest, that's absolutely brilliant advice, and it's something that I try to tell people, but like you said, that people don't listen, and they do go down to the pub and they tell people that they want their 50-60 brake horsepower, twin. But yeah, buy a bike like that, because even I know people with the Rebel 500, and they have so much fun in that, and that is not a fast bike by any means, but they love them. And those, the beautiful thing is, when is your bike fun? When you're riding it, and they don't break down. Generally less powerful bikes don't break down as much because they're just under stressed and will putter away forever. If you don't want a bike that breaks down, do not buy a 30-something-year-old Super Magna. By the way, I'll just add that if people have been listening to this chat and be like, oh, smiles, so the V7 or the Super Magna, if you buy a 30-plus-year-old Super Magna, you're gonna have to do work to it.
No, I'd definitely go fuel injected, like you were saying earlier. It's convenience, it works. I get a load of people saying like fuel injection is it's rubbish and stuff like that. It's not. It's
brilliant technology.
Not just the future, it's now the past. There's fuel injected bikes 20 years ago.
yeah, exactly. Like if you really want to learn about carbs, I love carbs, and I actually now have 3 carbureted bikes. I'll tell you later, Pete. I can't tell everyone else. If you're prepared to learn and you're prepared to spend way more money than you would on an EFI bike, go for it. But yeah, just as Pete said, they're just, EFI is just really, really good, and it works all of the time. So good advice. Before we close out then, is there any shout outs you would like to give other than to yourself? Anyone who's listening to this far, please do go give Pete's channel a look and give him a sub. He's nearly 3,000 subscribers, and I love his videos personally, so I can personally recommend them to you. Go have a look and give him a sub.
There are, I love the motovlogging community, and if I was to shout out every single channel I recommend, I've actually had to go at YouTube because they've restricted how many channels I can recommend on my page. But yes, A Garden Shed, he's fantastic. Phil 480, he's fantastic. Mr. Fish, he's a slightly larger channel than myself, but he's a bit poorly at the moment, but he'll be back and stuff. So Mr. Fish, he's awesome. Big Pezza, I mean, I have to shout him out because he has shown me so much with the off-roading and stuff. He's been fantastic, and and he's also a local guy, so we always out riding together and stuff like that. So feel free, Garden Shed, Big Pezza, and a big channel, Lamb Chop Rides.
Yeah, Lamb Chop is a good guy. And just on Mr. Fish, hope you get well soon. Lovely guy. I met him in person at Motorcycle Live, and just really nice dude. So hope you're feeling better soon. And the Little Big Adventure was class.
It was
really good. Yeah, it was really, really good. So do you have any questions for me before we close out?
When can I have a go on your Magna? So i.e. when you come into the UK, and when are we going to see you on track? And can we have another castle visit, please?
Absolutely. Number 3, absolutely, and hopefully quite soon, actually, because soon as the 5K limit goes, there's one really near me it's like 9K. I could probably get there now, but I don't want to upset people. So yes, number 3. Number 1, as soon as I'm able, really. I'm hoping if the weather is pretty okay and we're allowed to, like February. January is always a bit crazy for me. So
you like riding in snow? Brilliant, cool.
Yep, February is fine. February's fine with me. It doesn't bother me at all. Because I want to come across in the CBF. I wanted to do Scotland with the CBF and, have all my stuff on. And then I was going to come across for because I meant to do it last year as well in 2019. I wanted to come across for 2 days on the Magna, just, cross for a weekend and back. So hopefully you'll be seeing more of me than you probably want next year. But get back to your own country. Get out of here.
Not possible. Not possible.
And number 2 question, the track day. I'm not actually sure when track days start up again here, but it provided everything is going well with the GSX-R and I'm comfortable on that bike soon. Definitely 2021. Even if the GSX-R explodes and goes on fire when I try fix it, I'll be on track with the CBF. Definitely. Just have to make sure I have track insurance on my insurance, and if not, I have to add it, because if I bin the bike,
that'll cost you a couple of quid.
Yeah, but it's worth it, isn't it?
Your euros, aren't you? Your euros.
Yeah, and I already pay enough for insuring all the bikes, but you know, it is what it is. So I think that's it. If you've watched, thank you very much for watching. You know, as always, a special thanks to my patrons. You're all absolute legends. And if none of you have heard of Pete, which I would be surprised by because I've definitely mentioned him several times on the channel before, go over and have a look. He would, I'm sure, appreciate the support just as much as I do. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. Adios. Outro crew. You get to ask a question to the outro crew, Pete.
Ooh. Damn it.
Yeah. I like hitting people at this unexpected.
Whenever you get to it and you've got to think of a question in it. What would you rather? Me off-roading my V7 or me track daying the V85?
Oh, those are good. That's a good question. That's a good question. I'd be interested to see what people say to that. Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right. Thanks, outro crew. Bye.
Cheers, buddy.
Pete, been a pleasure.
Absolutely, mate. Awesome.